This week on Forever Spinning, we take a look back at the 2004 elusive and revolutionary experimental hip-hop album Madvillainy by Madvillain. First things first, I would like to thank my buddy Tim for buying me this record during a Pollyanna that we did like a week or two ago. I was definitely not expecting this, and I'm so glad that I finally own this on wax. Thank you again, Tim. Madvillain is an experimental hip-hop group consisting of MC Danny Dumale, who goes under the alias of MF Doom, and Otis Jackson Jr., who goes under the alias of Madlib. The group was formed in 2002 when Stones Throw Records asked Madlib who he would like to work with. Madlib responded by saying that he wanted to work with two artists in particular. First being Detroit rapper J Dilla, and the second being the famous underground MC MF Doom. Doom was then sent a package from Madlib and Stones Throw Records that consisted of various beats that Madlib had been working on. Doom, who was actually previously unaware of Madlib's existence, instantly fell in love with it. And from there, the two began to start working together, and Madvillainy was beginning to form. Madlib then traveled to Brazil with Red Bull Music Academy, where he actually ended up producing the majority of the beats that would end up on Madvillainy. He did so by using a very flimsy DIY setup that he created for himself. The group continued to work on new ideas for this album until it eventually just kind of fizzled out. Then there was a leak online of the entire project, and that kind of prompted the two artists to respectfully take a step back and work on some other things for a while. During that time period, Madlib was able to work with J Dilla, and they eventually released J-Lib. Then on the other side of this, Doom released the Vaudeville Villain album under the alias of Victor Vaughn, as well as the Take Me to Your Leader album under the King Ghidorah alias. Somewhere around 2003, the two began to start working together and finalize this project. After yet again another leak, the group went back, made some minor changes to the sound and production of the album, and then, well, it was ready to go. So on March 24, 2004, Madvillainy was released under Stones Throw Records to great critical acclaim. The first single to be released from the Madvillainy album was actually a 12-inch record of Money Folder backed with America's Most Blunted. In Money Folder, Doom is able to use his comical and over-the-top persona to address his success in the underground. To say Doom is braggadocious is a bit of an overstatement, as he still stays rather humble throughout this track. The last lyrics of this track are probably the most telling of the overarching theme of success, as a sample is stitched together to say, "It is explained by a more comedic villain, the bald-headed Doom. This villain rose to incredible new heights of money-making, revenge, and extortion. Such was the magnitude of a typical villain." This is such a perfect way to end this track, as it allows Doom to kind of take a step back and give a new perspective on all the success that he's had in the underground so far. This also lends to this whole idea of Doom not being the most braggadocious rapper out there because, well, he didn't say this. This is a sample that is put together, and it really does give an outsider's idea and perspective of what Doom really is and where he is headed. Nowhere does it say he's the best villain, he just is a villain. He's on the right track, but it doesn't mean that he's the best at it yet. Next is the B-side to Money Folder, and that would be America's Most Blunted. Short, quick guitar chords mixed in with rising bass notes and an addictive drum beat that all come together to tell the love and appreciation that both Madlib and MF Doom have for cannabis. This song makes many nods to marijuana, whether it be through direct lyrical references or using samples of people hitting a bong in the background. The song's true intentions are really just to show off the production and lyrical level that both Madlib and MF Doom were able to achieve while smoking weed throughout the duration of this record. This is a theme that both artists talk about heavily in other records, but definitely culminating all together on Madvillainy. This track also features Madlib's alter ego Quasimodo rapping over a couple of verses, as well as joining MF Doom during the chorus. This is one of the more mainstream focused sounding tracks on the album, but that doesn't detract from any of it, as it is still an incredibly fun track to listen to, even on a first listen. The final single that I would like to talk about off this masterpiece is Curls. Curls is a much more serious look at MF Doom's life growing up, whether it be addressing his drug abuse or his stealing habits. One of my favorite lines talks about him stealing for his financially burdened mother while growing up. The line goes, "A rhyming klepto who couldn't go up in the store no more. His life is a folklore legend. Why you so stiff? You need to smoke more, brethren. Lines like this are riddled throughout this 1 minute and 36-second mix. And while Doom definitely touches on some serious topics, he still manages to use hilarious one-liners throughout this serious life lesson of a track. This is one of those albums that you pretty much need to listen to if you at least consider yourself to be the slightest bit of a hip-hop head. Madlib and Doom created a world unlike any other in this epic 46-minute project. Sure, the beats are awesome. There's pretty much no other better way to say that. But once you peel back the inner workings and layers of this album's production and mixing, you can truly see and appreciate this album's genius. Or, more specifically, Madlib's genius. Doom's cadence and flow over these grooving beats are both monstrous and gripping. Not only did this record save Stone's Throw, but it also inspired a new generation of artists, whether it be people like Earl Sweatshirt, Danny Brown, or even Tom York of Radiohead. There is still so much to dig up in this dense, seemingly undefinable LP. Not only does this sound great in 2019, but it sounds almost as fresh as ever. This album stands the test of time in a way that very few records, especially hip-hop records, have in the past. And I have a feeling that we'll be listening to Madvillainy for years and years to come. So, whether you've never heard this album before, or if it's a personal favorite of yours, Madvillainy by Madvillain will always be forever spinning. Happy listening.